You must have seen a lot of bands kind of fall by the wayside, like friends of yours who are in music. And what is it that makes the difference between a band who can last and ones who can't?
I mean, I think first for us we're just friends,
and
we like each other's company. I mean, we go out drinking together when we're home as friends. That's probably one reason, I guess. We're all kind of lifer musicians. That's probably the other one. These guys would all be in another kind of band if they weren't in this band. And I think we always knew we wouldn't do really well just by the kind of music we were playing and the kind of songs I have. I don't think anyone had any like grand ideas of being a rock star
as well.
No, I mean, I've been with these guys 15 years.
So yeah.
I mean, they fucking work with my songs. I mean, it's a great honor to have such great musicians take the time on. They write songs.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of those guys have written songs, but they take out the time to work on my songs, and so I don't want to be Willy Vlautin and Richmond Fontaine. I mean, part of the thing about being in a band is letting the other guy play the way he feels like playing, and that's a lot funner. It's a lot funner to get in a van when you never tell the other guy how to play, and it's a lot funner to get in the van when you're making the exact same money as the guy sitting next to you. I mean, I just like to live my life that way. So within the band, but that being said, I mean, they do let me. I mean, I bring in the songs, and then the band dresses them up, you know, in different suits to fit them.
I'm sitting in the vacant lot again, staring at those power line towers, storefronts and chains. They all got different names, but I look back and I'm still the same. I'm living in my mom's basement again, coming at 4 a.m. She gets pissed. Gotta be up at 6. We get into a fight. Back around again. Oh, what the hell was I thinking? Sitting on top of the parking garage again. Jumping off the sin. About that I don't care.
I get the impression that when you're writing for prose and when you're writing for songwriting, I almost get the impression, one, presumably does it make the other better, and that you've got to have such depth to a character to write a whole book about them. But at the same time, if you can't express it in 2 or 3 lines, then you can't write a song about it because you don't have that much space.
Well, it's hard to if you're going to write like story songs, you know, or create a character in a song. I mean, you got to do it in a couple lines. Like you got to put in a detail that will make sense to people, or make sense to me. I mean, that's just kind of, you just do that off your gut, and you rewrite a lot. It's hard. I fail a lot at it, but once in a while I do all right at it, I think. They are different. I mean, the heart is both the same to me. I mean, I got the backstory of all the songs, you know, in my head. Like the characters kind of go back deeper than the song itself, and that makes it easier to write the song.
Because do you find, I mean, it must help you creatively, I guess, that you must be able to drag sets of situations back and forth between the two, in a sense.
Well, like Lean on Pete was a song. It was a 7-minute kind of dirge with no chorus, but it basically had Del, the trainer, and Charlie Thompson, the main character, and Lean on Pete in it. So it had those three, but it was a failed song, and a really dark, you know, boring, really sad tune. But I knew the story was there, and I knew I wanted to write the story, and so, you know, just for a laugh, I sat down one day and started working on Lean on Pete. I just had the kid wake up in a sleeping bag, and then it just kind of wrote itself in a way.
This is a song called Laramie, Wyoming. He wouldn't go back to school when he was forced to. He ran away to to his aunt's house in Laramie. He was picked up first by a Mexican family. They drove as far as Boise, where he bought a loaf of bread and spent the night by the river there. He always walked with his head down, always staring at the ground. He'd hardly say anything to anyone.
Because you were saying you actually do that sometimes with your writing. You actually like hanging around the horse track because when it's on the weekends it's mad, but during the week it's really quiet. And you can just go,
fucking A, you done your I rode out there for the last 13 years, maybe 12 years, and seriously probably the last 6 years. But during Lean on Pete, I was so I am still really conflicted now about horse racing that I was disgusted with myself. I went out there one morning and was watching a race that I bet on, and the horse broke its leg and the jockey broke his collarbone, and I was betting on it, and I was hungover and eating donuts, and I was just ashamed of myself. Here's this mess of me fucking betting on this fucking horse that ends up dying, and a jockey that's gets really beat up, and he's got no money either. I mean, the Jockeys Guild doesn't pay much, and that track doesn't pay much. So I quit going for a long time.
Ended up in some back room where no one knew my name. I drifted and I drifted, ended up in Spokane, in a one-room place above a bar called the Grave. I never called my parents, I called my brother drunk too many times, till he finally wouldn't answer his phone. Worried and uncertain, I ran myself down. I ended up selling most of my things. I drifted and I drifted.
Tom Waits really exaggerates it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He creates almost more caricatures, whereas yours are a lot more sort of like flat and stark and real. But you're still saying that you exaggerate it a lot from real life situations.
I never had any intention of hurting anybody. I mean, I was never a punk or an angry kid, because my mom worked the same job for 30 years and was fucking, trying to save for retirement and trying not to go broke and take care of my brother and me and do, anything she could to see that we could get by. So to be rebellious around her, it never even crossed my mind. So to hurt her, but living in that house wasn't always the best. But I never wanted to beat up on her. So I could beat up on her if I wanted to through a character that was like a 65-year-old man. You know what I mean? So I wrote in characters to have control. I never had the ability or the guts, I guess, of like Elliott Smith, that he seemed to write with blood straight out. Me, I feel more comfortable if I could talk about life through characters.
This is a song that never quite made the record. It's called Living in a Van. And that's basically what we've been doing for a while. But we'd like to send this out to all our old vans. We've had a lot of old vans, some better than others. In particular tonight, I'd like to send this one out to the van that I bought from a mechanic at a Ford dealership. And it blew up like 5 hours after we left town. So remember that, if a mechanic, they say mechanics' cars always break down. Well, I guess that's kind of true. So I don't know what happened to that poor van. It liked me, I think. It just didn't want to drive anymore. So we'll send it out to that one. Right, boys?